Good evening, everyone. I'm Rachel Del Rossi, the new Executive Director of the Peggy Browning Fund, and I'm so happy to welcome you to a celebration of 25 years of programs recruiting law students for the labor movement. This anniversary couldn't have come at a more opportune time, as this country is in the midst of the largest transition of generational powers in American history. Many of the country's most critical institutions have not cultivated the leadership necessary to keep the fight sustainable in the long term. Pipelining has risen to the forefront of the social justice struggle, but here at PBF, we've been doing it for 25 years, placing progressive law students into incredible real-world opportunities. The Peggy Browning Fund has welcomed over 1,200 law students into our summer fellowship program and has connected with over 3,000 students through our annual conference. We've partnered with 157 law schools and 69 mentor organizations. Our alumni are in powerful positions in government, union-side law firms, unions, worker centers, advocacy organizations, and other forces that fight for workplace justice. Students joining our programs have an ever-expanding network of dedicated and well-positioned alumni to support their labor law journey. We have connected students to labor leaders and labor lawyers from coast to coast, and each other. But I'd like to connect you with somebody who's been a moving force at PBF from the beginning, our president and founder, Joe Laurie.
My name is Joe Laurie. I'm president of the Peggy Browning Fund. I'm also founder of the Peggy Browning Fund. Peggy was my wife, and this fund was founded as a legacy to her. She was a very big believer in workplace justice, the labor movement, unions, and she was the first union-side labor lawyer appointed to the National Labor Relations Board. And she was passionate about the labor movement and believed in unionism throughout the country.
She could stand up just to anybody. And when President Clinton picked her for the NLRB, we were all so certain she'd do a fabulous job.
We were actually confirmed together, and she became one of my dear close friends. And she was truly a remarkable human being. She was smart, thoughtful, and she was truly impressive.
Unfortunately, about a year after she got appointed on the board, she developed breast cancer. And throughout the whole cancer, she never missed a day. She was the toughest person I ever met, and also a great woman, and a fun partner. After she passed away, I decided to honor her by establishing the Peggy Browning Fund. And I came up with this idea to encourage law students who are progressive and interested perhaps in the labor movement to work for economic and social justice in the United States. I decided that I could do this by setting up a nonprofit.
So yeah, Joe called us together and presented this idea. We said, Joe, it's a great idea. We're with you. We'll try to help you make it happen. The Browning Fund today has become an institution that is well known in law schools across the country, has become a prestigious fellowship. And the Peggy Browning Fund has made it possible for her idealism, her principles, her passion for these important issues to live on in a way that she would have been so happy and proud of.
Our summer fellowship program is the central part of our work. Each year, we place law students with mentor organizations in the labor movement across the country, such as unions, worker centers, union-side law firms, and nonprofit organizations. These students have the opportunity to experience what a career would be like advocating for workplace justice. The second program is our National Law Students Workers' Rights Conference. It's held over 2 days every year in October. Students participate in workshops, panel discussions, keynote addresses, and networking. On an average, we have 170 to 180 law students from all across the country. Our third program is our regional workshop program. I'm advocating for workers' rights. Each year in the fall, we coordinate 1-hour panel discussions at law schools across the country. We know that workers' rights everywhere are being attacked. Labor needs lawyers, and law positions are available to young lawyers and older lawyers who come out of law school today and say, okay, I want to do this type of work. And we hope that the fellows that we produce are passionate and add that passion to the work they do in the labor movement and indeed make the labor movement stronger.
PBF attracts the best candidates, right? Not just students who are interested in public interest, but specifically students who are committed to doing union side labor law or who are very interested and want to see what it's like.
I was very interested in labor advocacy when I went into law school, but through this fellowship, it just reinforced my vision that I want to become a labor attorney.
I had not one, but two experiences as a Peggy Browning Fellow, and they deepened even further my commitment to the labor movement and were absolutely crucial to my career as a future labor lawyer.
During the fellowship at UFCW, I got not only the legal experience in terms of drafting briefs and doing legal research, but also going out and interviewing workers who were organizing with our Walmart campaign out in the field.
It not only made me feel more certain that this is the type of work that I wanted to do, but I feel like I have a good substantive foundation to actually contribute to the workers' rights movement.
One of the most special aspects of my Peggy Browning Fellowship was really the people during this time. I got very conscious and helpful mentorship that has lasted to this day.
I have served as a mentor with the Peggy Browning Fund program now for a number of years. They bring their heart, their soul, their minds into this work. They are so enthusiastic. They are so willing to learn and to develop their skills and to really go out there and make a difference.
We're training the whole next generation of union advocates. CWA in its extended form all across the country, our various districts and sectors have had 84 Peggy Browning Fellows over the years.
We have had, over the course of the last 25 years, almost 60 Peggy Browning Fellows in our legal department.
Two of our associates at Slevin and Hart are former Peggy Browning Fellows. So we've had great experience.
We have had Peggy Browning Fellows here at SAG-AFTRA in the past. And so I really have seen firsthand the impact that Peggy Browning Fellowship can make.
I think the PBF program has strengthened the work that we do on behalf of our members and working people every day, because we get the benefit of future attorneys that are committed to the labor movement, committed to working people, committed to being movement lawyers.
Labor leaders can't do it on their own. We need protection on the NLRB. We need protection in every crisis that comes out, and we need their guidance almost daily.
They're not going to make the money that they would make at corporate America. We know that. But there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction when you're able to accomplish the things that we're trying to accomplish in society to make life better for everyone.
We need to have great advocates that not only understand the law, but also understand labor. And that's why I feel that the Peggy Browning Fund is fantastic.
That mix of people with grassroots experience with these sharp legal minds is what makes the labor movement effective. And most of these law students come from working class families who can't afford to really explore these sort of opportunities on their own.
It is really important that students like me and working class students, students of color, have this sort of professional experience while also not putting their own financial well-being excessively at risk.
Without Peggy Browning, only people who came from wealthier backgrounds could volunteer to do labor work and to learn that trade. That's the point of having something like Peggy Browning, because no matter who you are, where you come from, you're given an opportunity to take that step up.
We all know that law school is getting crazy expensive, that student debt is out of control, but the labor movement needs really good lawyers. We can't afford to lose people, and we are going to pay you fairly.
it was a huge relief to me to be able to have the money to, afford food and rent and transportation, and just be able to focus on learning about labor law and what I could do to help people as a lawyer.
I think it's so important to have the Peggy Browning Fund around, supporting students who are bilingual, minorities, and would like to be bilingual attorneys in the future. That is an opportunity for our low-income workers to get the representation of qualified attorneys in the future.
In these times now, it's more important than ever to invest in a new generation of leaders, because there's so much work that's already happening out there in terms of activism, community organizing, and we really need a new lens to think about how lawyers can play a part in the equation for social justice.
This is the 25th anniversary of the Peggy Browning Fund, and I'm proudest of two things. First, we made sure that Peggy's name didn't die. Second, her work and her life are going to live on, and the hundreds of Peggy Browning Fellows who've gone out into the world to fight for workers and make it a better place.
It's a legacy for progressives in the United States who care about the labor movement, who care about workplace justice. And without you guys, that couldn't happen. So I thank you dearly for your contributions.
We all need to be committed to making sure that this incredible program continues for at least 25 more years and beyond.
The first 25 years at PBF have been remarkable. In the next 25, we plan to continue to grow our impact by focusing on long-term sustainability, supporting our alumni network more deeply, and evolving our programming to focus on equity and community representation. More than anything, we will be looking to our network to inform the next stages of our work. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to working with all of you in the coming years.